皆さんこんにちは and welcome to Shogo's podcast. So guys, today's story is actually again gonna be about the Asahi Shinryu and the video filming that I did with them, but and this is actually not going to be anything educational or anything new for you guys. I just want to share my experience, my feelings with you that I had at Asahi Shinryu that made me really happy actually. And it's one of the words that one of the members actually, and he is the man who drove the car for me from the station to the dojo, the nearby station to the dojo. Also, he's the person that I always keep in touch with to discuss about the channel and such. He's basically kind of like the right arm of Six Sensei. Yeah, he's been training with him for a very long time. His skills is amazing as well. And he's also the head, should I say, the head person. He's also the manager of the second dojo too. So he of course has a lot of training and skills too. But one of the things he said to me during the filming, or after the filming actually, after the filming where we're just about to go back to Kyoto, which I couldn't, as I told you in the last episode. But what he said was, Shogo, as I was listening to you doing the video film with Six Sensei, he did the cameraman for me once in a while too, and he said, as I was watching you, I really felt your Japanese, the Japanese that you speak, your Japanese is just so polite and beautiful, is what he said. 日本語がとっても綺麗ですね, as he said. And he's also said that such beautiful language, I guess, polite language, can't just suddenly come out, even if you wanted to. It's something that you must be very used to doing. Speaking to someone as politely as possible, as kindly as possible. It's not something that you can, just do in a few days, And what he told me, what he told me was just really made me very happy because hardly anyone would tell me this, Even though, of course, I try my best to be as polite as possible, to use the most beautiful language. I don't want to use any dirty words. The same in English, right? I always try to avoid using the F words or A words or all these stuff. Even though I know there's tons of YouTubers who have a lot of millions of followers who use these words, and I'm pretty sure if they're originally from an English-speaking country, they're more I guess they're used to listening to such words, or listening or using those words. But personally, even though I did live in the US and I still do have a lot of friends who are native English speakers and they say these words, I try to just avoid it. In Japan too, like for example, you could say kuso, like shit. It would mean kuso. I never try to say that. There are people who would literally say shinit to other people, which means to die. I don't know, I hope my video doesn't get censored just because I'm saying this right now, but yes, I personally just don't like these words, what the words you say, basically shapes who you are, your mind. You are the person who are listening to your words the most, right? So I just simply don't like using these words. It doesn't make anyone happy, right? It might make someone, should I say, negatively kind of have the same emotions with you, I guess, Maybe you'll be able to feel more of, I don't know what, compassion? No, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. But anyways, I try to speak as politely as possible. And the thing is, this is the most important part of today's story. The thing is that although I try to speak politely as possible and the correct Japanese with the correct keigo, the polite language, as much as possible, the thing is, I grew up in the US, right? So no matter how much, I talked a little bit about this before with my tea ceremony master and such, but no matter how much I try to speak polite language, no matter how much my manners, for example, just my small body movements are polite, or, because I learned tea ceremony, I know how to do these things. No one has ever told me this before because I'm American. Because I used to live in the US for 6 years when I was in elementary school. No matter how much I try to do these things, the moment I speak a little bit of English, or the moment that people find out that I'm originally grew up in the US for 6 years, they're like, oh, that's the reason why you're so American. And as I told you before, when I filmed recorded or talked about the tea ceremony, my tea ceremony master calling me an American during my training often in my podcast channel, I want to make it very clear that I loved living in the US, and I'm very, very, very proud that my accent is maybe a little bit Michigan, and American. I'm very proud about it, and I'm very grateful, and very, very grateful that I'm able to speak English like this, because if I couldn't, I probably don't have 95% of my jobs that I have right now, and I absolutely would have not been able to do the things that I love. But it's different when someone suddenly calls you by a label, and there are tons of people. You probably understand this. Even if you couldn't speak Japanese, you guys are my friends, you probably understand this. There are tons of impolite people with terrible manners in Japan who will be called Japanese just because they were born and brought up in Japan and nowhere else. I grew up in the US for 6 years, and I suddenly, no matter how much I learn, no matter how hard I try, most people, well, everyone except the man that I met, as I mentioned you, that told me that my Japanese is beautiful the first time ever in my life, everyone else would call me an American just because of that. I don't know. I really don't know which part of me they're looking at when I'm in my Japanese mode, basically. When I'm speaking in English, of course, please call me, tell me that I look more like American, or I look authentic, I don't know, a native person, in the US. I'd be really, really happy, if someone tells me that I'm a native speaker of English. That's, wonderful. That's a huge compliment. But even when I'm only speaking in Japanese, in my kimono, sitting in seiza, and speaking in keigo, there are people who literally tell me that. So I was just really, really happy that finally in my life of 28 years of being alive, this is the first time that someone has ever told me that. And I was just very, very happy about it. So in the end, I want to tell you guys, this is a happy end. This story has a happy ending, basically. So he told me that, and I was really, really honored. And I guess this is the stuff that tends to happen. In the last podcast where I talked about my team master and her, calling me American all the time, a lot of you guys give me a lot of comments and come from me and telling me that I should tell her that, and a lot of people telling them that no, Shogo can't tell her team master because she is his master, and you don't say things to your master. And that is right. I can't say anything to my master. That's the relationship we have in Japan, especially in the world of traditional culture. And I don't mind. She grew up in Japan, and she was born and brought up in Japan, nowhere else, and she doesn't know anything else. She doesn't speak any other languages. How would she ever know, right? Yeah. So it's fine. It's useless to go and tell them that no, I'm Japanese. You want to listen to my Japanese again? Were there any flaws in my keigo? Do I am I sitting incorrectly? Am I wearing my kimono incorrectly? No, right? Then you shouldn't call. This argument is worthless. Because they can't compare with anything. Only the people who have actually been overseas or have friends overseas, or families, relatives, or traveled before, and so on and so forth, can understand the differences, compare it inside your mind. People who haven't never done these things before can never compare it. So that's the reason why it's their problem, I guess, in the end, that they have such a small world inside their heads. So it's inevitable, but still, it is really tough for me once in a while, and I just want to tell you that finally I was able to meet such a person in SMI Shitenkai, SMI Shinryu, and yeah, just really, really happy that by putting in a lot of effort into what I do, the people who I meet will obviously change, the people who I get to work with will obviously change. And yeah, I can feel it with my skin that the atmosphere that I belong to recently, the people's atmosphere that I belong to has absolutely been improving a lot. I'm always excited to meet the people who I work with right now. I'm always honored and happy, and they respect me a lot. Yeah. And I'm just really, really happy that I was able to put a lot of effort into the stuff I do. I was able to finally reach this stage. So I just want to tell you that I'm really, really happy, and I will continue to do my best. I just wanted to tell those people who just label me with their very, very small amount of knowledge and experience. I'm starting to get a little bit angry. But anyways, yeah, I just wanted to prove them wrong, basically, in the future by getting more success, making more people happy. And obviously, these are the things that I love, right? So that's probably one of the things I'm going to be doing in the future. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for listening. As I always say at the end of these podcasts, the ultimate goal of my life is to make all Japan lovers' dreams come true. So I know there's a lot of people studying Japanese, willing to come to Japan to study, travel, work, or even share traditional culture and such. However, I am very afraid that Japan will not be able to make everyone's dreams come true in the future, because we're facing a lot of social problems, we are losing our traditional culture, and the younger generations who are supposed to be carrying on the good things about Japan are dying because of all those social issues being shoved against them. So I really want to dedicate my life trying to make Japan a better place. I want to try to solve the social problems, preserve and evolve traditional culture, and also help out the younger generations so they can have a brighter future. And do this, the nearest goals I have right now is to make big success in the Yushinkan Samurai experience in Kyoto. I hope you can check out the Airbnb reservation page in the description box, and also raise money to buy my first real bamboo shakuhachi to do more collaboration videos with Kaminaga Daisuke-san through Ko-fi. And also, if you can check out my Suzuki merchandise space, we have our limited edition merchandise until the end of 2022, so I hope you can check these out for me. They're all in the description box. Okay guys, thank you so much for your time, and I'll be waiting for your comments, guys. Thank you so much for always writing me so many nice comments. The main channel, I do take some time to read the comments, but of course I can't read all of them, unfortunately. But the podcast channel, I read everything absolutely, so I hope you can check them out for me. Okay guys, thank you so much, guys. Buys? Thank you so much, guys. Buys, what I wanted to say.